thank you for doing this. I just want to say that was very kind of you to take the time out to chatter with me about you. So I'll do like a little bit of a sort of an intro. I really suck at this. I just kind of want to jump right into talking. And I did an interview with a director a few days ago. And I was just like, wanting to talk. Oh, I was just talking. He said, well, let's do the introductions. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Introductions. They're kind of important. So, all right. This is Sin, obviously, and I'm talking to Annie Ellicott. She works with us at Soundbooth Theater. I actually think I'm going to just let you go ahead and introduce yourself more formally as far as what you do, your profession, things like that.
Okay. Well, I have been a singer by trade for most of my adult life. And other things. I've always been a singer and then had another job. So I've done a bunch of things in my life. For my odd jobs, I've from waitressing to caregiving.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, I was doing a sort of a funky free jazz gig in Kansas City, and Jeff, our boss, who owns Soundbooth Theater, saw me, and I was just being really playful. It was like a full 100% improvised show. So I was doing all these weird voices and
like just voices or singing
I was
type of voice?
singing, but I was in a particularly kind of goofy mood that day for some reason, and I was also saying things in funny accents and stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
he approached me after the gig, and I had known him for many years. He had come to a lot of my Kansas City gigs. Because I sang with one of his favorite bands, Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey, and one of his favorite musicians, Mark Sutherland, a saxophone player. So we had known each other for a while, and he approached me and said, um, you know how I had been I knew that he had gotten into voice acting.
Okay.
But he told me, I've actually started my own production company now, and I'm looking for a female who can do character voices. And I think that you would be really good at that. So would you like to come audition? And I was like, yes. Yes, I would. And the rest is history.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when he told us that at first, when he was telling us, it was Alex at the time and me, and we were having a little chat, and I didn't know that you were familiar with him already, and I was a little concerned. I just knew you were a singer because he'd sent us links and some of your stuff, and you did like a little interview on a radio station somewhere, I think, or some interview, and you were in a room with your instrument and everything, and I was like, well, did she get concerned when you approached her? Like, did she think you were some sort of crazy fan or something, you know? And I remember
that I was with did.
Yeah, you said.
She was like, and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's right. You said, and I mentioned that in the interview with Jeff, I think, and he was like, oh, really? I don't even remember that. It's like, okay, well.
Good.
But yeah, it was really cool. It was a little like, you know, it'd only been Jeff for the most part until you hopped in and you started to do character voices. And I remember, like, I could tell, I was like, yeah, she's got something there. And, you know, but you just had to figure out how to sort of settle yourself into the role of doing character voices, you know, microphone positioning and stuff like that. But it was I mean, you have come so far. You're just like, your talent is amazing. I love to listen to the stuff that you work on. Yeah, your work on Dracula was absolutely amazing. I've told you this, but I'm going to say it again because people heard it a little bit when I did a video of proofing that I did for Dracula, and I wanted to catch your voice on there, Jeff's obviously, and then Gary's, and all three of you were there and during the course of that video that I did, and I mentioned who you were And I mentioned that sometimes you sing with Jeff Goldblum. And one of the people, I've told you this before in private, but one of the people had hopped on there on the comments and says, "Oh, I've seen her perform with him before. I just didn't know who she was." Like
so
he didn't
cool.
know that was you. So I thought that was kind of
That's
cool.
very cool.
Yeah. So you say you've been singing most of your adult life, and were you also
Actually, my whole adult life.
your
And
whole well,
before,
that's right.
I got my first official gig was when I was 17 or
Oh,
16. I was
wow.
16. Yeah.
Were you scared to death?
Yeah.
But you don't seem to be scared when you're up there performing. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen videos.
I'm not I got over it for the most part. I was a little scared at Glastonbury with like 30,000 people. That was
Right. That was
that was
earlier
a
this
little
year, right?
scary. But
Was that?
I'm really good at pretending that I'm not scared because
Oh,
actually I'm scared a lot. Like I'm scared all the time. Everything scares me. I live in a constant state of like fear. So like I've
oh.
gotten really good at pretending
Well,
like I'm not
oh,
afraid.
no. Oh, Annie, you seem so self-confident. I would never know you are good at pretending.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but like I've always had like extreme social anxiety. So
Really?
it took a long time for me to like singing at open mics and like in the front of the
Right.
school and stuff before I was able to just sing as well as I can actually sing, because you
Yeah.
can't it's so hard to control your emotions in your voice.
Right. That nervousness can come out, make your
Yeah.
voice kind of a little breathy and trembly and
Yeah, but
yeah.
when I was in elementary school, I was so shy. Like I ran into a boy like at the movie theater when I was a teenager, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you from Barnard. You used to sit in front of me on the bus. I thought you couldn't talk." Like he thought that I
Oh.
was a mute.
Oh, oh no. Oh my goodness. You were very introverted then.
I
Yeah.
was, and still, really,
Still
I still am. Yeah. So it's just really funny. It's ironic, but I'm actually, strangely, I'm a little bit more comfortable on stage than I am
off stage.
off stage, in a
Having
way.
to interact with people. I saw
Yeah,
a
there's like a safe barrier when you're on
yeah.
stage and everybody else is not on
I know
stage.
exactly what I mean, I know what you mean only because I recently did a reaction to a Joe Rogan talking to Rob Zombie, and he said pretty much the same thing you did, that performing in front of large, like let's say big audiences or whatever, that doesn't affect him at all. It's the one-on-one interaction, like someone wanting to come up and say hi to him. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's so weird," because he
yeah.
doesn't, it's really difficult for him. So that's
Yeah, it's interesting because
fascinating.
I go on the break. I A lot of my gigs have been in the past like 3 hours long. I'll be doing a club or maybe just at a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll be doing a set and then I'll go on break and I'll talk to the audience, which I do love to talk to people too. It's not that I don't like it. It's
Yeah.
just that it's more sensorily intense for me.
Yeah.
So takes more. It takes more
More effort.
energy. Yeah, so I always feel like when I go on the break, I almost feel like it's the work. I'm doing the work when I'm on my break, and then when I get back on stage, I'm like back on my break.
You're just having fun and
Yeah.
enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow, I would have never known. You always seem like you are just completely sure of yourself, and you seem to do just fine socially interacting with people. I would never know. I was, because I feel very introverted as well. I may not come across that way, but you know I know what you're talking about when when you mentioned the effort. But I think I would be too afraid to perform on stage as well, though. So I would just be like, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, it was really scary. It was really scary for a while. But then
How?
it got easy. It got easy and it got almost preferable to. But I don't want to give the impression that I don't like. I'm also social. It's
Mm,
just it's hard to describe. Certainly I love hanging out with friends.
yeah, yeah,
I can just get overwhelmed easily, I think.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Um, I was something. Oh, I know. I was going to ask you something also about. So, have you taken acting classes or, performed in other ways besides, let's say, music or in voice acting?
Yes, I was really into acting when I was a kid. I got into children's theater with a group in Tulsa, Actors in Children's Theater. And I did a whole bunch of community theater with them. And then I went on to perform with other local community theaters. And I went to an intensive summer thing for 3 years in a row called Oklahoma Summer Arts, where they brought in like professionals from different genres. Like it was an arts camp for lots of different arts. So there was choral music, there was orchestra, there were ballet and modern dance, and then there was film and there was acting. And I went there for acting, and that was a really badass experience because they brought in teachers from Cal Arts, this really prestigious acting school in Los Angeles.
Mm.
And we got really rigorous training. So between the 3 years, that was a lot. That was a lot of good training that I got. I'm very grateful for that. And then, you know, that's pretty much it. After the age of 18, I did some more, like I did a little bit of traveling regional theater until I was like 20 maybe. And then I didn't do any theater for a long time. Oh no, I did a few so there's this really cool theater in Tulsa called the Nightingale Theater, which I don't know if they're still doing much, but they were Tulsa's only independent theater.
Oh.
So they weren't beholden to anybody. So they did all this crazy fringe stuff.
Oh,
They had a
really?
bunch of original plays, and they had a whole lot of like full frontal male nudity and stuff.
Oh, that they were that. Okay.
I mean, like it wasn't all just like sex fringe stuff, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was just no censorship necessary, and so
Right.
there were some really hilarious, off the wall, edgy original shows that I got to be a part of that I hold dear in my heart
Aw.
forever.
Well, that's interesting. I had another question. It just flitted in my brain.
Yeah, I know. When I said full frontal male nudity,
That did it. That just
yeah.
like everything just. I think it was. I think it was something. Oh no, I know what I was going to say. It was more a statement about how that. Okay, so you had some sort of training in acting, so you already kind of had that foundation.
Yeah, a lot of theater training. I don't
Yeah,
have any like film training.
but just
I've done
acting,
music videos, but I have acting training.
Yeah, and also something that Jeff has mentioned that he really liked about you, and of course that's why he approached you, was that what you were doing that night. He said that you really like to play.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
It is so much fun. I love the different voices that you can do. I think one of my favorite voices, the one that just really cracks me up, is the one, and I don't know if you do like what Jeff does, if you have in your mind a certain actor in your head for who you're channeling, whether it's a made up actor that you've developed in your own mind or an actual actor, but there's this one you do. And I'm not even going to try to imitate her, but she's got like she's like young, and you do her in Space Buns. You're the one that kind of acts like you're screaming while you're talking at the same time. I don't know who that is. I can't, like, you just,
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, that sort of that
Yeah,
voice.
she's like from Brooklyn. She's
Yeah.
kind of like a hard ass little mousy kind of character.
Yes. She cracks me up when you do her like on the live streams, and you'll break out with that voice sometimes. It just, I don't know, that tickles me. It doesn't take much, but it really, really cracks me up. So you're into the audiobooks now, and you've worked on a whole lot. There goes okay, sorry. I thought my Terminator theme was going to blare out across the room. I was going to ask you, what is the most difficult character you have worked on through the course of your audiobook work? Like whether it's a difficult character for you to voice or a difficult character for you to emotionally connect with and understand, or
I'm trying to remember who this was. There there was a character that it was just really hard on my voice, but I can't remember who it
Oh,
was. I think it was something from one of the War Eternus books. Oh, it was the bird lady. It was I don't know if it was War Eternus or if it was what's the other Charles
there
King book?
heroic villain, but there was a
No, it
bird
was
lady
I think it was War Eternus.
in War Eternus, the
Yeah.
main bird lady, right?
Yeah, the main bird lady. And she said, and actually, if you listen to her in the first book and then you listen to her in subsequent books, I had to change her voice a little bit because she was a big character. And like when I
She
first
was.
started out, I was
Yeah.
like, she's like this rough warrior kind of bird lady. So I was like, you know,
Oh,
everybody get up and, get all your
oh,
weapons and blah, 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 blah. And, like, it
ripping
was
your
like
vocal
ripping
cords.
yeah.
Oh,
Like by the
ouch.
end of the book, I was like, ugh.
Oh no.
So I
Yeah.
actually softened her up a little bit. And maybe it was like, it probably worked with her character arc to soften up a little bit because she was
Right. She did
getting more
grow.
dynamic and getting a little
Hmm.
older. And so, it worked out. But
Yeah. What's the most fun character for you to work on?
ooh, the
Or
most fun
fun
character.
voice, let's say, or putting you on the spot, Annie.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I should have asked for the interview questions
I
beforehand.
don't have any. They just kind of popped into my
Oh,
head.
that's good. Yeah, impromptu. I like that. Improv.
Just like, just a
my favorite.
discussion. It's like the way my whole channel is. I mean, that's
That's
kind of,
cool.
I don't do good with scripted,
Yeah.
it's just,
Me neither.
and
That's why I got into jazz. Because if I
okay,
didn't remember something, I would just make something up and be like, jazz.
there you go.
um, let's see. Well, I I'm really enjoying playing Ruby in Space Buns. Not just I mean, she's not a particularly she's not like fun in the way that like Remy is fun from
Remy from Gunmeister online?
Gunmeister.
Yeah.
But I
She's
just
crazy.
enjoy
Remy's
playing her
crazy.
because she's kind of loosely based off of, she's kind of a caricature-ish version of myself. So I sort
Okay.
of like the process of sort of ribbing myself in portraying her,
Right. Okay. Remind me which voice she is. There's these different ones.
Well, Ruby is just she's the main character.
Oh, the main character.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun because it's easy.
Because it's just right. You're
But
just
yeah,
using
but
your
it's
regular
also
voice, I
it's
think, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I also really love playing Anne Ferris, the Spider Queen. I like it when I get to play
Oh
monsters.
yeah, her. I forgot about her. You're really good at the monsters too.
Yeah.
I would love to see. So like what you need to do is put a camera in the booth while you're doing a monster scene so we can just like get all the facial expressions.
I was really good at that in the beginning.
Yeah, I remember you had there were at least one or two or more videos when you were filming some of those books and you would take little clips of yourself.
Yeah.
And you would posture for the camera a little bit. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's actually but it's kind of time consuming and distracting. So when you get really busy, you don't want to mess with it.
Right.
But
yeah, that's true.
But it's so good to have. It is good to have.
It's fun for people that enjoy looking at background things, how production goes, what you have to do.
It's great to have for a lot of reasons, I did one like bloopers. I make so many mistakes too. Like I could be putting blooper rolls out every day.
Those are fun. You really should. Those are fun to listen to.
And those would be a great thing to slap up on Soundbooth Theater. Maybe our next team meeting, we should talk about everybody submitting some blooper roll material every month or something. Have a little blooper section.
I did that for at least one of my books that I did a audiobook of. And it was and the reason I did was because I had so many bloopers. I was doing a Spanish book. It was like a Spanish, like 1,001 phrases and whatever, kind of an instructional sort of book. And boy, was I having so many bloopers. And it was like, you know what? This is happening so much. I'm going to just compile all these and I put it up on SoundCloud, and every once in a while I go back and listen to it and enjoy laughing at myself.
Yeah.
But that's actually a really good idea, and I'm going to write that down to mention that. I don't know if I'll be this is totally off topic. I don't know if I'll be at the next meeting. I might be taking the kids to a museum or something.
Oh,
but
cool.
I think we have a meeting this Wednesday because we didn't have any meetings at all last week. So
Christmas time.
Yep.
Well, that's all over now.
All over, isn't it? I know. Now we sort of kind of have to get back in the groove, but not really because we got New Year's coming up.
Oh, right.
So it all feels kind of weird this time of year, you know?
It does.
Yeah. So what are your plans for, obviously you're still doing audiobook stuff. Do you still do your music stuff too, right? You still have shows and things like that?
I haven't been doing shows really at all.
No?
Yeah, since COVID.
Oh, well.
I've done a couple of live
gigs. That
Mm.
doesn't really, this whole year,
Yeah.
not counting that.
I have a wonderful band that I have hired for my last several gigs of original music, and they're so good, and we're starting to sound so tight. We were talking like, okay, we've got to come up with a name and like be a band and like make some plans. Like our last gig was just so good, and that was a Valentine's Day gig of last
Oh,
year.
wow.
That wasn't our last gig. We
Of
did one more gig.
2019?
Yeah, so the Valentine's Day gig of 2020,
Okay,
the
2020.
beginning of this year. So I said last year, yeah, but the
Yeah,
beginning of this year.
okay.
Oh, it was so great. We did it at this jazz club in Tulsa. Duets, got great sound, and it's lovely. We were so inspired. And then COVID hit like very shortly after, and we were like, oh, shit.
The world just
So
went
we've
to
done
crap,
like
yeah.
one outdoor concert since then, and we sounded great. But I was just talking to one of my bandmates a few days ago about how I would like to make an album of that music. And I don't know what else we will do, but I would like to make an album of that music in 2021 because it sounds so good, and they all sound so good on it.
And do you think that's going to happen? Have you started to move on that?
No, but that conversation was literally like it was on like Christmas Day. So
Oh,
it
just
was
a
very,
little
very
while ago.
recent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like
So
a couple
yeah.
days ago.
Well, okay.
So
That's right. Christmas was just on Friday.
yeah, we just had a nice walk, Christmas walk.
How was the weather there?
It was really lovely. I mean, it was kind of cold, but it was very sunny and, not too cold. Not too cold not to enjoy a walk.
Well, it was stinking. It was like freezing here. It was so cold. You couldn't enjoy anything except being inside. But do you have any more plans to, or I guess you wouldn't know unless things open up, but the Jeff Goldblum stuff, will that potentially be happening?
I mean, I just really have no idea. I hope that, once they start traveling again, I hope that they will still enjoy taking me on the road with them. I'm not their only singer.
Yeah.
They have a handful of wonderful singers that they work with. I have been, the last couple of years, I seem to be the one they like to, use on tour, but there's never any guarantee,
right. Yeah.
after every gig, it could be the last one because
True.
they do have so many options. And I just feel so grateful that I've been as much a part of it as I have. So I do hope that it continues.
Oh, I hope so too. It's always really exciting. I'm so excited for you when I know that you're getting ready to go do that. Now, I didn't even know he did music or anything like that. He didn't know he was a piano player or anything until Jeff told us that you toured with him sometimes. So it's like, well, that's really cool.
I didn't know either, and I didn't know. I didn't know until I actually called a friend of mine. I had moved to San Francisco, and I had a friend, a guitarist friend who lived in Los Angeles. And sorry, I'm getting messages on my
oh, it's okay.
My, iPad. I should put it on airplane mode.
Yeah, I was going to ask for you to tell your story about how that ended up
right. So
taking place.
I called my friend Pat Kelly, He was a wonderful guitarist. Lives out in Los Angeles and teaches at, I think it's UCLA. And he was like, I called him to ask him, if he had any gigs at all in LA. Like, I would just go there to do anything, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't care if it pays. I don't care anything. Like, I just, I'm totally new here. I need to just start making connections and sort of start all over again.
Yeah.
Because I had really gotten to a pretty good place in Tulsa where I was very well established. So when I moved out to California, that was like, whoa. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Why did you
I actually accomplished a lot in Tulsa.
Oh, no. And
So-
why did you decide to move because you thought that would help advance?
I
or-
moved there for a relationship, but I also
Okay.
thought I justified it by being like,
Right.
well, yeah, this is
'Cause
also a great career move.
Everybody goes to California
Yeah,
for,
and
most
it was a wonderful move. I mean,
Yeah.
I accomplished a lot of great things there. So I called Pat, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm filling in for the guitarist on this Jeff Goldblum gig on Wednesday."
Ugh.
I was like, "What?
Right.
The Fly?" Like,
Right.
he was like, "Yeah, he plays jazz piano." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Can I come to your gig?" Because like I did not have shit going on in my life. I
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
I don't have work. So I was like, I'm just gonna come to your gig. And,
Right.
like,
You
meet the
support a
band
friend and
and
watch. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. He was like, sure. So he also told me that they actually have a guest singer every Wednesday. And he was like, yeah, come and meet them and then I'll show them your something. Like I think he just showed my website to them or something.
What year was this? Annie.
I don't know.
You can't remember. You can't remember what year this was?
No,
Oh no. Is it let's say 5-10 years ago or
it was
how?
between 5 and 10 years ago.
Okay. All right. So more than 5. All right.
I would say it was like 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, 6, 7.
Because I'm trying to remember how far back some of those videos go. Because there are videos of you and him on stage, and I can't remember the dates myself.
Yeah.
I just asked for curiosity reason.
Well,
I
look
figured
at my website. It remembers.
it'll say it on your website. AnnieEllicott.com.
Yeah. But yeah, I showed up and it was really amazing. Like I sat at the band guest table, so like it's kind of the worst seat in the house, but it was still amazing. Like his back is literally to you. Like he's
Yeah.
playing a grand piano that's like sideways, like his profile's to the audience, but he plays out to the audience really well. And it's like a cabaret stage. And so there's a little bit of seating off to the actual sides of the stage. So I'm over here next to the front door and there's this guy who's like furiously shuffling music and like bringing things up to the stage back and forth. And I'm like, I'm in the way.
Oh, yeah.
And then like halfway through the gig, this guy who has like barely acknowledged me turns to me and he was like, oh, by the way, we checked you out online and really like your stuff. Let us know next time you're in LA and we'll put you on the gig. And then he like went on and I was like,
Right.
okay. So,
that probably was so exciting though. I mean, like startling,
it was
but
very exciting. And it turned out that was the band manager, John Mastro.
Okay.
So then of course I went back to San Francisco and I told my boyfriend and he was like, well, tell them that you're coming back to LA next month. Right. And I was like, okay.
Exactly.
So I did. I mean, I tried a couple of times. It was like it took us a little bit of time to sync up, but finally I did. And then I actually proceeded to do that for a couple of years. I would just call them and tell them that I had plans to be in LA.
And then you would make those plans after you let them know.
Like, okay, we'll throw you on the gig. Because it's like a little cabaret gig. It's not like, it's not necessarily something that they would feel comfortable being like, drive your ass to LA and stay the night and do this gig,
Right.
So I kind of had to play it down and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in the area. You want to throw me up on stage? Yeah, I'm good. so I did that for quite a while. And then the next cool thing was when they had a gig in San Francisco doing the San Francisco Sketch Fest that they do every year, which is like a comedy festival.
Okay.
And so Jeff Goldblum's thing is it's like partially jazz, but it's also part entertainment, cabaret, comedy, audience interaction kind of stuff,
Yeah, that's
improv
on some of
stuff.
the videos, I think. It looks
Yeah,
like those things
so
are happening.
he got invited to be one of the acts, and I went there, and I was able to do a little bit of like bantering with him, and I read some of the jokes, and it worked out really well. So they had me come the next year to Sketchfest. I did that 2 or 3 years.
Oh, cool.
I did a New Year's gig in San Francisco with them, and then at that point I moved back to Tulsa because my mom got sick.
Hmm.
So I took care of my mom for a while, and then I just decided to stay. I didn't realize how rich I was in resources in Tulsa
Tulsa.
till I left Tulsa.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are so many wonderful musicians here, and I've just got great relationships with all kinds of videographers and, you know, photographers and club owners, and like
And it's your
there's just
home.
so
It's
much.
what you're
And
used
it's my
to as
family and
well.
friends,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Cost of living is definitely kinder.
Oh, yeah.
But so then I was far away, but I actually got called to do a couple of other San Francisco gigs because by then they sort of thought of me as their San Francisco singer. So that was cool. And then out of the blue, a couple of summers ago, I don't remember when. It was a couple of summers ago. Yeah. Yeah, about a year and a half ago, I got the call to go on tour with them to all these fun places, including England.
Yeah, I was going to say, what didn't you go to England? Because I thought I remembered that you did. That was
Yeah, so I got to
exciting.
do London and Glastonbury Music Festival, which is like the biggest music festival in the world. It was really amazing.
Didn't you do something in New York, or am I misreading?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I also
Okay.
went to New York with them and played at Sony Hall.
That was cool.
So amazing.
Are you on stage the whole time, or do you just come out as certain?
No, I just come out. I pepper the show
You pepper the show.
with random appearances.
That's a good way to put it. So do you, and how much preparation do you have to do behind the scenes with Jeff G? Because we have a
Well,
Jeff H, but there's Jeff G. How much do you have to work with him behind the
not a
scenes before
lot,
you?
because actually part of the whole shtick is that he has no idea what's about to happen. They
Oh, okay.
surprise him with songs and with he doesn't know who the singer's going to be.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So, and he doesn't know what the jokes are going to be that they give him.
Oh,
So like he's reading everything cold. And that's part of the hilarity of it, you know,
that's
because he's
funny. I
having to
didn't
really
know
be on his
that.
toes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, generally you want to pick a song that he's hopefully actually familiar with, but
So you just
and it was
throw
a
out
little
a
more polished.
song
Like when
and
they were
hope
on
he can
tour, they
play?
were touring the albums, so they definitely
Okay.
knew the songs, but
Right.
the songs that they could be pooling from.
Mm.
But yes, I did my practicing mostly on my own to like the recordings of the music, and then like a very quick practice with the band. But that was after years. I think maybe our first rehearsal, our couple of first rehearsals were a little bit more extensive, you know.
Yeah, because you kind of
Just a little bit.
have to.
Like it was up in the green room like before the show. So they've always been a little bit it's all a little bit off the cuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But because that's the whole point.
Yeah, and you also like to do that sort of thing. I mean, you're really good at that already.
Yeah, I do
So,
like that.
yeah, that's cool. And I remember last year at Dragon Con, I had asked you this one question that I'll ask you again. I had asked you if Jeff was as quirky in real life as he comes across on screen, and your answer was?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard to know, sometimes how much of a persona is sort of just kind of manufactured.
Right.
Or
And I mean, it's a little bit like I guess, you could say that there's like a Jeff Goldblum knob, and maybe it's at a 10 when he's on stage and doing his thing. And then maybe like if he's like really sleepy and he's on a tour bus, it's turned down a little bit, but it's the same person.
That's so
It's
funny.
it's not like he's this totally different human being
Right. Yeah.
when nobody's looking.
It's
I
just
mean,
that,
or maybe he is because I'm
well,
looking, but
well,
I
that's
don't think
true.
so. I
But you
think
know
that
what?
he's very much just that delightfully quirky and strange in real
Exactly.
life.
And it carries through in his performances. And I didn't know. And even in his, when he comes on, like, let's say talk shows, and he has an appearance on a talk show, and he kind of comes across that way as well. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, is this just his thing, or is he quite different when he's not performing? So that's why I was like, I just had to ask you that. So it's kind of funny. So, well, that's cool. That's really exciting. And I hope that, once everything gets back to normal, maybe that will pick up for you again, and you
I
can
hope
go and
so. I mean,
have a bunch of fun
I've had the time of
experiences.
my life doing that. The whole band is great, so sweet. They're all nice.
Yeah.
It's all good people. Jeff Goldblum is a sweet, sweet person. Like
Yeah.
I have never seen him become short or impatient with
People.
And he
He
gets
seems to be very good natured.
bombarded with, I mean, like everywhere you go, like in all the airports, walking down
Yeah.
the street, at the restaurant, like tons of people are constantly vying for his attention. And I've never seen him for 1 second be anything less than sweet and gracious, which is
Yeah.
like so impressive. I don't know how I could handle that. Like he really must just be cut out for this, because I
Yes,
can't imagine being as amazing as he is all
that
the
much in
time with all
demand.
that
Yeah.
attention and pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. I can, yeah, I wouldn't want that. And I do have a great amount of appreciation for celebrities that can maintain this really decent quality about them when they are, like you say, bombarded with people that want their attention all the time. That's got to be and just overwhelming. So it's good to see when they're able to be respectful and kind to complete strangers who just want a piece of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you could ask me what my favorite Christmas present was, because it's sitting here in the booth with
Oh, yes, that's a good idea. What is your favorite Christmas present, Annie?
this mug that I got from
I saw
my
you.
friends Erica and Chris. Erica and I have been friends since we were like 3 or something like that. But it's I don't know if
I'm
you're going
trying
to
to.
be able to see this,
Is
but
it
if
cat?
I turn
Wait.
it slowly, it's a bunny orgy.
Oh, I thought it was cats at first. It's funny.
It's bunnies doing that bunny thing that they do. And then
making more and more
you can
bunnies.
see, my other favorite thing about it is that it says "Le lapin." It's
Oh,
French.
okay. I thought that said "be happy." That's what it looks like
It does.
from here.
Yeah, well, it could be saying that too.
What
But
does that mean?
It says "Le lapin." It means the rabbit. Over
Oh, the rabbit.
a couple of rabbits who are doing their thing.
Copulating.
Yeah.
Do you like rabbits?
I
Is
love
that why
little
they?
bunnies.
Oh,
I
they
mean,
are
and
cute,
I
aren't
love
they?
rabbits, and I love orgies.
Oh, do you? Do tell.
In concept, in real life, it's
a little bit sketchy.
I have social anxiety.
There's that, right? We can't forget about that. For performance anxiety, let's say, maybe that would get in the way. Here I am again, drawing another blank. See, this is the problem with not writing out questions, because I like for things to be like a discussion.
Yeah.
Like what's been going on. And you know how questions just pop into your mind as you go. But then the problem is, if you don't have questions written out, if you write out questions, your discussions can branch off in all those different ways because you've got all these different questions lined up. But when you just go in and you're just talking, then you start to draw blanks, like what's happening to me now. I can't think of what else to ask you. So,
well, I mean, we've covered a lot.
We
talked
have.
about a lot.
I'm trying to think of things
extensive interview.
And see how much more time we've got left. Oh, we've almost used up all our time. We've got just under 13 minutes. So we've yapped for a good while. So I'm just trying. I'm just trying to think of things that fans like to ask. Fans of people that are in different industries like to ask. Oh, do you're singing, you're recording. Well, you haven't recorded the album, but you say you want to. So whenever you get around to doing that, if it's able to happen, will you be recording your vocals in the booth or will you meet together in the studio?
I will probably record my vocals in the booth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm planning, I would like to do this one. I'd like to do this one. I, my guitarist for the band, the guitarist I've been using for the last couple of years for this music, Peter Tom Shawnee, is like a genius. And he has produced a lot of his own music. And it sounds great. And he does it out of his house. Like he just knows how to do it to make it sound
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And he's a musical genius. He's got great sensibilities. And I just had this epiphany and I was like, why don't I just have Peter produce the album? But I haven't
Yeah.
talked to him about it yet. So
Oh, well, that would be so.
But
This would be like the first time he's hearing
this
about
would
it.
be the first time yeah. So we haven't talked, he hasn't said yes, but that would be really easy because he's in Tulsa and he's my guitarist and we've done a lot of rehearsing at the house.
Right.
Probably, you know, a lot of my band members could probably remote record from their houses. But if they
You would,
can't, they could go to his house.
yeah, I mean,
We've
that's,
got the vaccine coming around the corner.
yeah,
So we can
that's,
get some of the recording done before
if that
that and maybe
vaccine
during. I
actually,
mean, you know, we can spread out, you know, the house.
yeah, yeah, you could. I think that'd be really
Yeah.
cool if you're able to get that pulled together. And I mean, and like you said, he knows what he's doing as far as his audio and tech stuff. Anything you try to do in your own booth as far as getting things like that set up, he could probably sort of guide you through it. But you already
I
know
can
anyway
send him
because
everything. Like I have actually done a lot of a lot of musical vocals from this booth. They sound great.
well, I mean, it is a professional
Yeah, and all
recording
they
booth.
need is I just send them a WAV file of the Ableton track. So I listen to the music in my headphones and then I count it in so they know where to plop in my track
Okay,
for my voice to line up with the music.
right.
And I just send them a dry Ableton track of me singing and it's like they're getting me a cappella, but I'm
Just
counting it in so they know exactly where to place it with the
oh,
music.
that's cool.
And then they can mix and master it from there.
Right. So how was so that was when you started doing that, you'd already been working with Ableton for a while, or
Yeah.
so that helps that you knew what the heck you were doing.
Yeah, and it was really
Because
cool because you know, you've seen me how much I've just sort of been dragged kicking and screaming through the whole technological aspect of all of
no,
this.
you
Like,
haven't. You've been willing. You've been very
no, I've been willing,
to
but not particularly talented in this area. And it's been very intimidating for me. Like you know, I've always been kind of a Luddite by nature and by sort of like, I don't know, I just have never really been into the digital stuff so much. And so
yeah.
I'm really glad that I had a reason to sort of force myself to kind of join the times, you
Right.
know?
Well, you know,
Because it really has opened a lot of, and God, the pandemic, I don't know what I would be doing right now if I hadn't gained these skills and if I didn't have
right.
this work. Like, it's just, I cannot believe my great fortune.
Is
I'm
it
like
isn't I know. Right.
eternally grateful.
I feel the same
So,
way. It's like I haven't been really personally affected as far
right.
as our
Right. I mean,
jobs
like I'm
because
not
it's
getting
phone
gigs,
based.
but like it's not killing me. Like,
Right. Yeah.
so um
But
yeah.
Ableton is scary.
But Ableton is
So
scary at first.
it is.
My friend Alfred Howard called me randomly, like right after I put it was right after I made some sort of little recording for somebody else that I was really afraid about because I didn't know how easy it was going to be. And like right after that, he called me. He lives in San Diego and we've like talked about working together for years. And he has this cool website called alfredhowardwrites.com and it's him doing stuff with friends. So it's
Okay.
just him collaborating. He's a really good writer and then he collaborates with musicians and singers and stuff. And then he also has written stories that are on there too, but you should check it out. ALFREDH
OWARD. Yes.
ARDWRITES.com. So he called me at the perfect time because I had just realized how like not impossibly difficult making recordings for other people in my booth would be. So
Right.
we did a little batch of stuff, and that sounded great. My friend Brad Henderson in Tulsa is putting together big band charts and wanting to have like, you know, band and vocals for the demos for them. And I've been doing that project with him. And we're probably going to turn that into like a little uh, big band demo for us to shop ourselves as a big band group
Oh, cool.
eventually. So that'll be killing two birds with one stone.
Right.
And any, you know, just I'm available to, I've done a couple of one-offs for other people too. Just people just pay me to put vocals on their song.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
so great,
I'm
though.
available to sing for you.
AnnieEllicott.com.
Um,
I'll splash your website on the screen
Yeah.
whenever I do the editing.
yeah.
I'll put your
Nice.
website in the description link. But yeah, no, that it is good that, I mean, I'm very glad that we're all using Ableton, because in the beginning, I would just listen to the audiobook through Audacity and go to a whole other screen to type up the mistakes. And it was so time consuming. I'm like, how did we, because at the time it was just Jeff, you know, and we weren't doing the tons of work that we're doing now. There's no way we could do that now the way we did it back then. And I was really nervous about Ableton too. And when I first opened it up, it scared the heck out of me.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, because little
completely
did you know, you
get it.
only need to know 1% of what the fuck is going on there.
Exactly. That's all you need to know. And when I do something wonky, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've broken it. And then I get on the, you know, the Discord chat and help me fix what's wrong. And then this is, oh, it's just this. Oh, okay.
Right.
And then you feel completely foolish because you have no clue. But you probably know much more about the program at this point than I do, because you're using it.
I
for
might know a
the
little more, but I really, that's one thing that I could, that's a resolution I could make actually, is
There you
learning
go.
more about the program in 2021 so that I can start producing my own music, you know, because I
Yeah.
play instruments and
That's what it's designed for. You know, it's the whole,
Yeah.
it revolves around making music, that program
right.
does.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I know it can do a lot of cool stuff because I actually, the producer that did Lonesome Gold Mine, which is an album I put out in 2017.
yeah, it's been a
2017?
few years. I remember the name of that one.
We did everything through Ableton. He did everything through Ableton. I sort of was there the whole time, kind of like co-collaborating, but of course he was the one doing all the stuff on Ableton.
Was that before, shortly
he-
before, around the
he could
same
do
time?
Crazy stuff.
I believe it. Of the
That
audiobooks.
was-
Because I can't remember if your album had already come out
My
by
album
the
had already
time.
come out
Okay, so
by that time. It might have
Sure.
come out in 2016.
okay, 2016. Because you started doing audiobooks in 2017,
Yeah,
right? Was it 2017? Oh my gosh, Annie,
I don't know. It would have been like the end
2017
of
or 2018? Oh, because I don't. Oh, that's going to bug me now. Because I started working with Jeff in November of 2016.
Okay, well, the first thing I did was
It was
the Spider Queen was Dungeon Lord.
Wait. No, you did voices for Harmon Cooper's book. You did a character named after me,
Oh,
Sin.
that was my first. That was my first one.
I think it was Sin. Whatever, I forgot her name, but Harmon said he named her after me. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, and then he was going to write a whole book about her, and then that didn't happen because he has all these other things he's into, you know, all these other books and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that was the character, and that was just your voices. But I am drawing a complete blank as to when that happened. I thought it was 2017, but it might have been 2018. I want to say 2017 because you were one of the very first with us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's going to bug me. I have to go look it up now.
I think it was in 2017 because really it was a slow trickle. In the beginning, I did like
Right.
a couple things, but I wasn't really spending a lot of time doing it. I was coming to Kansas City and
Right.
actually recording in Jeff's booth.
Right. Yeah.
For a
The
good
booth that
year.
you're in right now.
Which is this, which
Yeah.
I stole.
No, you did
I was
not.
like, no. I was like, look that way.
Let me quickly dismantle it, put it in the car, and drive
No,
off.
he willingly sold it to me.
when you're used to it, and it's good, it worked out well because
It
when
did.
you
He was
came,
upgrading.
he was having to, he was like, he was showing you the ropes, and he was directing you at first, and you'd be recording, and then eventually you started to take over doing it yourself.
Right.
And
And then it started to be like I had constant work. So I ended up like I woke up one day and I was like, I live with you. Like I haven't gone home in months.
that's right, because
Like
you were with him for a good long while. It's like
like
Annie's
and I
coming,
was
she's gonna be here
recording
2
late.
months.
Like he was recording it in the day and I was recording in the night. So I was
That's
living
right,
this
because you had,
weird vampiric existence where I was like I was up all night and then I was just sort of like living in this other person's space, like creeping around late at night, being like,
there you go. That's her
like a
voice.
creepy little like
Isn't that
vampire Goldilocks kind of
Isn't that the spider
situation.
voice, or is that Jalen's voice? That voice you did just now. I love her voice.
Oh, that was kind of like the spider voice, I
The
guess.
spider
Yeah.
voice. So creepy. Tell me, who's the voice you do for? Oh, is it
Oh, I
Yarlin?
liked that little tiny vampire, the mini vampire.
Isn't it Yarlin? Isn't that her name?
Yarlin.
Yeah, I
I
really
love
liked
her. She's so
Yarlin.
funny. I love the
Yeah,
way you play her, and I love the way
she's
you
a fun.
do. What's that other character in there? Shoot, the witch girl.
Oh, Levi.
You play her so excellently. It's just like every moment that you are in my ears with that voice, it's just like this is so much fun because you've got that. She's so snarky, the way
Yeah,
she talks,
so like and so into herself.
but it's just you just, I mean, you're just in touch with these characters so well. That's just one thing. That's why I love working on your stuff.
Well,
And
good.
yeah, it's just your voice, like I said, the Dracula. I keep going back to Dracula because that was when you had to do a whole lot of narrating work
I had to do a lot of
in an English
narrating
accent.
work in like different ladies who were both English and from the same region. And that
Right.
was really a challenge for me.
Lucy and Mina.
Yeah.
And you did so good. And I was just like, especially, I really love the way you did Mina's voice. It was so calming and soothing. And I swear to goodness, I was like, well, I'm getting ASMR. I'm just going to fall asleep right here. Not because it was boring, but because it was just the way you did her voice, the
Oh,
pitch and
good.
everything. It was just so calming. And I loved every
Good.
moment of it. And there's our time. We have
Oh,
used up
good. Well,
all
we filled
our
it up.
time. We
We
sure
filled
did.
it up.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me,
Thank
Annie. I
you,
really
Sin.
appreciate it a
And
lot.
thank you for catching all my mistakes, and thank you for like hiding my idiocy from the world.
Oh, no, you are not. Don't say that about yourself. You absolutely are
No, I
not.
should say my dyslexia.
Your performances are brilliant, but yes, it's funny that you have dyslexia and you do this as a
As a
living.
living. It's
I told
really
Arturo
funny.
that you're dyslexic, and so he likes to, because he is as well, and he always likes to hear about other people that also have to deal with that and work their way around it, and
Yeah.
yet they're so, and a lot of
Well,
times,
you're like it's kind of inconvenient for me, but it's really inconvenient for you too.
but honestly, Annie, some of the stuff you come up with,
I
and
know
those
some of the words,
it's
they're
like,
just nothing.
where did
They
that
have
come from?
nothing to do with the actual word.
Not even close. And it tickles me, actually. It cracks me up sometimes. But anyway, I'm looking forward to whenever I can work on another one of your books. I don't know when that'll be. I'm going to be taking a break after I'm done with Adventure Academy to try to just get life in order around here. So
Okay.
in the meantime, I may end up working on something of yours before then.
Yeah,
If
I have a
it's
couple
in,
things I'm doing before then, so.
you are so busy. I don't know how you keep it all straight.
Oh, I don't. My schedule does. My external brains, my various external brains.
Yeah. Do you
You
use your
too, though. I feel the same way about you.
Google? Well, I don't keep it together, like you said. You should see my house. That's why I'm taking 2 weeks off after I'm done with Adventure Academy, so I can sort of kind of work on my house, my office, my new office that I moved into. Oh, it's ridiculous. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I've
took the
definitely.
earbuds out, and then I was like, "Oh wait, I can't hear you." But trash all over the floor. Not trash, but just stuff I dumped from my old office all over the
Right.
floor. I have like a little tiny pathway to walk to and from my desk.
Oh,
It's just like, and it
I
starts
know
to wear
I
on
know
you.
what it feels like to be in that kind of environment. I've definitely subjected my own self to that for much of my life at various points in time. So I look
It,
forward to you getting it all straightened out and how
yes,
much better that's going to feel.
me too. I do as Okay, well, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. You got to
Alright.
do stuff, and so do I. We got one of my cousins is coming to visit in a little bit, so I got to go get things ready for him. And
Excellent.
guess we'll see you whenever. Hope you have a good afternoon.
You too.
All right, thank you,
Bye.
Annie.
Thanks, Annie.
Bye.